Hi, gun people, horse people. Gonna do a little whipping here on this video. So, let's see if I can get this to where it flips. There we go. So, what happens is when you get a knot, and I use this again, cell line. You can get it at any marine store. You can get it online. You want nice, good, flexible cell line for your ropes. This gives you feel when you're working with horses. It ties well, it unties well. Because it's made for the ocean, salt water doesn't affect it, so the horse's sweat won't affect it. Other ropes get stiff when they get wet. When the horse's sweat dries, the sweat gets in there and tries to cut and tear. Because this is made for the sea, that doesn't happen. So if you want to buy a rope, a good rope, probably once, get good cell line and pay for what it costs. Well, when you get the rope, if you cut it and then just melt the edge, you'll get this nice little burnt edge, and I could melt that. But it still tends to fray over time after you melt it. Now, I had a whipping already on it, but because when I put it on it, I put it so close, what happens is when you whip it really close to the end, like so, over time with the horse and everything, this will pop over. And then once you lose that, it just starts unraveling and you lose your whipping. So having a little fray job here at the end will help hold it, and I will whip this right back here so this fray will end up keeping this from flipping over. So this little fray, and I think women would like this, it kind of looks like a little powder brush you can put your makeup on with the end of your horsey rope. And if you got a pink rope, man, it's a bonus. Rick, why you all be quiet, big crybaby. I'm going to put this on my gun channel so they don't understand my pink jokes. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to put this on here. If you put it on right, it won't come off. But it's got to be tight. When it's done, it's got to be hard. If it's soft and wiggly like this, it's not good. This is really hard because I've wrapped it really tight and I put a lot of pressure. So here's how you do it. And I think I've done this before, but YouTube's deleting so many videos all the time, I don't know what the hell goes on. So, first you just lay a loop like so. And you get both here, and this is going to be what's called your working end. This is the end I'm going to move. Okay? So once you get your loop here, this is where you're going to finish. So I'm going to do it real quick, just show you kind of what it looks like here. And this first little crossover is probably important because you've got to get this little bite right here in order to kind of lock it down when you come here. And that locks it down. And then I'm going to tighten it up, and I'm going to go 1, 2, however many times I want to go. And then on my last knot, this end I'm not using. This is the solid end that I can't use. It's still connected. I'm only working one of the rope. On my last knot, that little loop I made here, I'm going to put that through there. And then when I put it through, I'm going to pull this, and it's going to tighten it. Then I'll cut it and I'll melt that little piece. And this will never go. Now I did this loosely, and you see how loose it is and how wiggly? Shouldn't do that. Needs to be hard. I usually go at least 4, sometimes 5. And when you know you did it right, if when you pull this, it's really, really hard. Because you see me pulling this like this, I'm not going to be able to pull it like that once I wrap it right. I'm going to be pulling it like this and straining because it's really hard. The harder it is to strain here to pull that knot, the more pressure I have to use to pull that down, the better I know it's going to hold. And then I'm going to cut it. Okay, so let's, and normally I do it one really soft loop, so I know this is how long it is, so I don't waste rope. And I got 3 loops, so this needs to be longer, because I want to get at least 2 more loops. So when I unwind this, I need to make this part longer. So I'm just going to make it about that long. Okay? So same thing, I'm only using one end of the rope. And I still have this connected to this, so I can't twist this. You're not going to see me touch this, and this is still connected, because I'm not going to cut it till I'm done. So, like I said, I put my loop, and you want your loop higher than where you're going to finish, because you need to slide it through. So, I put my loop, then I get my working end, and I come over and I make that first little bite where I want to go. If I want to start way up here, I would put it up here. If I want to start way down here, I'd put it down here. So, I'm going to start pretty close to where it's unraveling because I don't want this to get too big. This one's a little big for me. Okay? So I want it about this size. So in order to keep it the size, I need to tie it down low. So I'm going to make my knot start about right here. So that's going to be my first loop. So this isn't going to get any bigger than that. Okay, so after you get that first knot turned over and you cross over, this is where you really want to start tightening and twisting. I'm really pulling almost as hard as I can to make sure that locks down. And then I'm going to put another loop right here. That's my second loop. And then when I come around, again, I'm keeping these two knots kind of just straight here. When I come around, I'm really going to tweak that, do my next one. You can tell this is getting really hard and solid. That ain't moving. I could stop now. But my next one, I cross over, and when I tighten, what I'm doing is I'm actually rolling my hand against this so I get leverage to push this away, and I'm pulling back on the rope. But by putting my hand like this, I really create a lot of torque on that knot, and it gets really tight. Now I'm going to do another one, do my torquing. And one more. And do my torquing. And now I'm done. So now what I need to do is slide this through here. And what I like to do is I like to go ahead and pull that around and kind of torque on it. Just a little bit. So when I tighten this down and this pulls down, it's going to tighten. I've got a good straight line here. I don't want this wiggly or scrunchy and messing this up. So by going that extra half loop, I'm going to undo this loop after I'm done. This loop isn't going to do anything. This is just to keep this tight right here when I pull this down. So now I need to pull this rope. And you can tell it tightens up, and it literally pulls this into the whipping. And hopefully my thing is focused because I can't see. And you'll see right there on that little crossover, I am pulling that down. That knot you're hearing is the wind blowing the garage door. Smokey hates it when I don't pin it. He's trying to sleep. Okay, so that's really down, pulled hard. Now, I cut off my excess, so I wasted this much because I didn't measure exactly, which is okay. Cut that off. I melt this without melting my rope. And that just makes it even harder to come out. I've done whipping and not done this, and it still hasn't come undone. So now that that is welted or melted into there, I've got my whipping. This knot here is flaring out, so this rope isn't going to come off. And now all I need to do is cut this one. So I will cut this one. And sometimes I don't even melt this one because this one has to go, in order for this knot to come undone, this would have to get pulled all the way up. So can I melt it? I can put a little just heat on it there. That melted a little bit. I don't want to mess up my little furry knot because when you melt this, it gets hard and stiff, and it can scratch because it's going to be by the horse's face. So that's good to go. So there's my whipping, ladies. Nice little powder puff or a makeup brush for you, and soft for the horsey. Now I connect it to my my rope halter. Of course, I have a video on this. One or two ways to connect it. You come up, go all the way around, and then back down the same hole you came up. And that's the way I like it because it keeps this pointed downwards. And then that's it. So that's one way to connect it. The other way to connect it is more of a sheet bend. Instead of coming around and going down, I come around and I go across. And that's more like your rope halter knot. This one, to me, doesn't hold quite as well and is more likely to slip. But it will hold. And, you know, if you want to get fancy, you can do a double sheet bend to where I can pull this out and do double. So I come around, I go 1, and then I go 2. And then I can have a double sheet bend here, and that'll hold it. And that's the bottom of the rope halter, and that's how I'll lead my horsey now. But I don't do this knot. Like I said, I go up the hole, go around the rope halter, around the back, and then out the hole again. And I like to make this pretty close to my knot. So I'm going to pull this one to take out the slack. I've seen some people make this really, really long to where it comes way out here. I don't like having this extra thing hanging down here, so I just make mine about right there, and then I pull the other knot, tighten it up, and you're good to go. So that's whipping. I did this one in blue, and I did this one in, I don't know what the hell you call it. I think it's called rattlesnake or something. I got it on Amazon. You buy 100 feet of it for like $5 or something. But that's how you whip a end of a rope, your horsey rope, where I have a lot of fluffy and a little fluffy. All right? Hopefully you got something out of that. And we'll end that there. Where's that crazy cat at? Let me zoom up on him. Bug him. He'll be mad. Mokey Moke! Where's my Mokey cat? Meow, meow, meow. Shut up, Dad. You've been yapping. All right, shit. We'll end that there. Y'all have a good one.